Put money in your pocket, that crypto wallet, that bing bada bing ching ching big profit. Even when the market's sideways, I'm looking for ways to get paid. I'm checking my coins around breakfast, then again around bedtime. Bet this, it's not financial advice, but I'm always right. 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 I'm always right.
What is going on, true believers? Welcome to the Believes Crypto Show. My name is Believes. We're here to talk about this crazy crypto world, and the state of this market is bad. Oh man, we are getting absolutely brutalized right now. However, I do think that we're probably looking at a massive reversal, and there's going to be a lot of people that are going to give you a differing standpoint. And I want to point out, I'm going to point out one. Most of you guys know I have a banter going back and forth with my friend Ryo in chat about Dr. Profit. Guess what? He's going to take a victory lap on this one because this market is doing almost exactly what he's predicted. And with almost 100% clarity. There are a few things, and there are a few for instances that might change that just a little bit, but let's break it all down. Make sure you hit that like button on the way in. Question of the day is going to be here for you. Put it in the chat right now. Did we just hit the bear market? Let me know what you think. Have we hit the bear market? If you come in after the live stream, by all means, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Let's see if we can have that conversation and figure it out. Now, here's what I say, okay? And there are a lot of different theses about it. The market could crash. You could see a run back. By the way, the worst thing that could happen to crypto right now is going to be a bounce to 100,000, because if 100,000 becomes resistance, then that's going to be a psychological ploy right there, and we're probably going to dump a lot harder. So if you are in a long position, if you are holding by a thread, in the event that you get to 100,000, you might want to reconsider just in case we don't break above. There's a lot of data out there that tells me that the market is probably headed down. It doesn't mean, by the way, does not mean that crypto is dead. Doesn't mean that we're not going to have a reversal. Doesn't mean that we couldn't see some real big upside. But I want you to go back and I want you to remember, it was days ago, okay? Days ago, we had Galaxy Digital. We have every one of the major institutions that have changed some of their thesis through the end of the year. You know, first we're talking 175,000. Now we're talking about 120,000 by the end of the year, maybe not even reaching that all-time high, maybe again getting a dead cat bounce before we fall apart. So they've changed their thesis, but their thesis all remain pretty bullish overall, which means that they're still accumulating. And you know, you really have to kind of break it down and look at what's really happening underneath the process that's playing out right now. And remember, the process is playing out right now is 100% pure and simple manipulation. They're trying to shake you out of the position. Now, by the way, when I say that, let's not kid ourselves and say that the institutions are all working together and conspiring to dump the price, okay? Some institutions are shorting the market. Some institutions are longing the market, and they're fighting constantly, and we are caught in the middle of the chop. We're the ones that get sacrificed as they make these moves, okay? Sometimes you'll see stop losses get triggered, stop losses get hit, and that makes it easier for the move to happen. And that's really what you end up seeing. Okay. You take your loss, you move on. You take your loss, you move on. You don't get completely wiped out. But what these liquidity seekers are doing, they're trying to liquidate you completely and get you out of the market because they want your capital to go back into the market. That's really all they want. And then they're able to extract it either from the short position or the long position. So that's what's playing out. It's not everybody, but there's a lot of people playing that game. Now, let's look at all the different things, and a shout out to Altcoin Daily. Altcoin Daily, who I never really talk about other than some conversations that I may have had with them at one point or another. Crypto market is crashing due to hotter than expected U.S. inflation data. That's not true, but we don't have any U.S. inflation data. And there are some speculative ones, but the speculative ones say that fuel prices are down. Thus, the inflation should be down, but also prices might be up 0.3%. That was purely speculative, but it is one of those numbers that people could be chewing on. Now, the other thing is Fed rate cut odds crashing for December. Are they crashing for December? Not exactly, but there is speculation on that happening right now, that maybe because of what we're doing right now, maybe we're not going to see that CPI, we're not going to see the rate cut because we have no CPI, we have no data, we have nothing to really go on. So there is a market right there where we're starting to, the Fed watch is starting to change where their bets are on whether or not we do get a rate cut. Now, if you're Donald Trump, you're the White House, you are looking for that rate cut because this is a testament to your ability to manage finance. And so far, if any of you are about to say, hey, I think Donald Trump is doing a great job so far, what? It's not happening. That doesn't mean that it won't happen. It just means that as of right now, it's not happening. And by the way, this market is a testament to that. Okay. The market is a testament. This is not a Democrat ploy. This is not whatever they're going to make up, by the way. And by the way, the White House does not want to see the CPI data released. Just want to point that out for you. So that is why you've got hotter than expected. No, because there is no data. And the speculation is that it's not super hot, but the White House doesn't want it released. So there's something wrong there. Also, the crash for the December rate cuts. Again, we have only 6 months left of Jerome Powell. Jerome Powell is out in May. So we're going to see an absolute insane rally from these markets very, very soon. So is it going to be a 12-month bull market or bear market? Is it an 18-month bear market until we start to accumulate some more and stuff like that? I don't think so. I think we've just delayed a little bit of what's going on. And by the way, if Jerome Powell gets in line, we might see it happen way, way, way sooner. Also, massive leverage liquidations. Now, here's the funny thing, guys. This is the part right here that I think matters a lot for crypto, okay? The reason for extreme amounts of volatility in this market is leverage, okay? Because you've got these people, these goblins out here trying to steal from each other, okay? And try to liquidate one another on their bets. And those massive leverage liquidations are causing fear in the market. Wintermute caused fear in the market. We're dealing with fear, extreme fear in all senses. Matter of fact, we are looking for despair to hit. Ryo is in here, bear market. Dr. Profit was right. As a matter of fact, we're going to be talking about Dr. Profit because you're right. He was right about, matter of fact, his projection of where the market was going is almost playing out to perfection. So SoftBank selling its entire NVIDIA position was one of those catalysts. SoftBank decided they're going to get out of NVIDIA for a little while. Will they accumulate on the bottom? We don't know. We need to know where the bottom is before we make that determination. But when you see tech stocks start to do that, by the way, Tesla down 6.5% today, Palantir down about 6.5% in pre-market. Like it's just an absolute bloodbath for tech stocks, which, by the way, translates to crypto. So we're seeing all of these different things. Then we're seeing two subprime hedge funds just blew up like in 2007. You're seeing Michael Burry from The Big Short get out of the market. And he says this, I no longer understand this market. So he is getting out. That's crazy. You got peak fear, you got peak manipulation. It's all happening. It's getting a little bit insane, a little bit crazy. Well, hemp industry, by the way, Donald Trump, not only because when it goes from bad to worse, the Trump administration is now banning industry hemp. There is a THC ban that just hit in the U.S. government, and this, by the way, was in the Republican budget. Just so you guys understand, this all of this stuff that you were like, oh man, Democrats, you got to pass that budget. You got to pass that budget, man. You got to pass that budget, bro. You got to pass that budget because we got to get that pump going. You know what I mean, bro? Well, guess what? They just banned your THC. So, CEO of Tether, Paulo Arduino, says it's Bitcoin's Black Friday. So let me know, do you think that it's Black Friday right now? Is this is your buy opportunity for Bitcoin? Is this the moment? Can you Can you get a dead cat bounce? Can we get that bounce? Can we get the shot back up to 100,000? Can we try to get back into that range? Maybe, but we're going to have to break above and then bounce off and get some accumulation going above 100,000 again. And that's going to be interesting to see whether or not we're going to get there, because in an extended period of time, if we don't get there, we are done. It's going to be cooked. And Dr. Profit, for all that, by the way, let me also point out, Dr. Profit's been wrong multiple times this year. He'll never acknowledge it because he's good at directions. So he's given the directions that the market is going to go, and he's been spot on in the direction. He's not spot on about the levels, okay? He's already called for 74,000 Bitcoin twice this year, and neither time did it play out. But he did call the market from near the tops. He's just not calling the bottom right. And it keeps bouncing back and going up higher and stronger. So, remember that when we're talking about this overall, okay? So, believes, do you know how to get in touch with Kraken? Someone tried to get in my account and now I can't log on to change my password. I do not know how you would do that. I mean, you would just, I guess you would, oh, you know what? Go to Kraken on your search bar on X. I would go look at Kraken and see if there isn't like Kraken support or something like that. Make sure that it's a real one. Go look it up, how you can contact them. In case you've been locked out of your account, go look that up. You can look it up on X. You can figure it out from there. Now, let's keep going because there's a lot more news. As Bitcoin plunges below 95K, is crypto in a bear market? Now, this is the debate being had right now. And let's kind of zoom in here. Massive exchange traded fund outflows. By the way, that was near $1 billion in outflows yesterday. Look at this. 866 million. You can see that right over there. 866 million, 278 million the day before. The Ethereum ETF also absolutely bleeding right now. USD 259 million and 183 million for the last couple of days. So there is a chill in the air. Remember, I told you, I thought maybe we would see a reversal because we had this big day on outflow. Then we had this reduced day. Then I said, we'll probably have a positive day and then it will start getting better. Well, it didn't get better. It's getting worse. That is usually a sign that we have fundamental problems in the market right now. And, look, the one thing that I'm going to say when it comes to quote unquote fundamental problems, the fundamental problems is we've got a bunch of criminals out here who are just trying to steal your money from you. It's not that there is a fundamental problem with anything in this market other than we got a bunch of people out here trying to steal all of the liquidity out of this market from you. I mean, that's really the summary is just that. If this market, if these institutions, by the way, these institutions will stop on a dime and they will reverse the market. And what they're doing right now, by the way, is pricing out the potential for the 25 basis point cut. So that's what's happening right now. Okay. So Bitcoin dropped below 95,000. This bellwether crypto is down 10% since its Monday highs, putting it on track for a third consecutive weekly down close candlestick. This bearish sentiment is reflected in falling investor confidence as seen in a prediction market Myriad, where users' chances of Bitcoin hitting 115,000 before 85,000 have dropped from 71% just 4 days ago to 46%. Another prediction market. And by the way, those prediction markets are very, very accurate. So right now, people were really bullish. Now they've turned bearish. Judging by market movements over the past 3 months, we must conclude that we are currently in a bear market, says Adam Chu, chief researcher of Greeks Live. Despite the presence of a considerable divergence in investor sentiment this week, put options have now gained the upper hand following Bitcoin's breach below 100,000. CryptoQuant's bull score is lighting up bear market territory. 8 out of 10 key on-chain metrics are bearish, from falling stablecoin liquidity to fading network activity and capital exit derivatives. This setup mirrors the late 2021 and early 2022 cycle. In perpetual markets, open interest, which tracks the open positions, has been steadily rising since October. 10 liquidations event have wiped out $19 billion in positions, suggesting an uptick in speculation activity. Meanwhile, cumulative volume delta, which is the difference in total buys and sells, is declining steadily, suggesting that sellers are now in control. When combined, these two indicators suggest that short sellers are dominating the perpetual markets. So, by the way, if you're not in leverage trading and you're not in perpetual markets, guess what? They can't do that to you. This is the reason. The reason for this volatility is because everybody is speculating and everybody's trying to leverage their positions. A drop in the Coinbase premium, which tracks discrepancies in capital dynamics between the U.S. and global markets, into negative territory, signals that demand in the U.S. is waning, adding to the bearish sentiment. A final factor is a drop in institutional demand due to macro and geopolitical uncertainties, as evidenced by outflow from exchange-traded funds and the slowdown in digital asset treasury-driven accumulation. Now, all in all, the crypto market remains grim, making this one of the worst fourth quarter performances of all time. Bitcoin's sustained drop from its record high of 126,000 to below 96 has pushed the formation of a death cross, a popular bearish signal. Now, I've talked about the death cross. I told you guys it's coming. That occurs when the 50-day simple moving average crosses below the 200, indicating that short-term momentum is declining faster than long-term momentum. Now, what does that ultimately mean? By the way, when you see it in these markets right now, it gets it reverses super hard, and it has over I think 3 times so far in the last couple of years. So we'll see whether or not it plays out. White House, by the way, right here, in case somebody was thinking like, oh, you just don't like Donald Trump or something like that, you know, you're in your brain. White House says October jobs and inflation data may never be released because of the shutdown. That doesn't mean that they can't do their job. Doesn't mean that they didn't have staff live. Didn't mean they didn't have people out there to do it. What it means is the White House is trying to manipulate the market right now because maybe the data doesn't look as good as somebody would want. Key economic reports for October may not be released at all because of the government shutdown. Release of important economic data has been the forefront of Wall Street concerns as the shutdown dragged on for more than 6 weeks, the longest in history. The Democratic shutdown made it extraordinarily difficult for economic economists, investors, and policymakers at the Federal Reserve to receive critical government data, says Caroline Levitt. Man, do you think God hates her for not having all of her nose? You guys ever see the picture here where this chick used to have a big nose and she had half her nose cut off? Like, it's gross, right? We can agree. Like, is it plastic surgery? Is that just like tattoos and like affront to God? Like, you know, it's weird that she wears a cross, right? I mean, can we agree on that? Or is there something in your plates that change that where, you know, cutting up your body is okay if you're blonde and Republican? I don't know. I don't know how that works. You know, you guys change the goalposts all the time, so I have no idea. Also, these raggedy bitches on X, like, I love MAGA, and they're like tattooed up and down their leg, and they call it sleeves. Oh, you gotta be shitting me. Those are the Christians. Those are the fucking Christians. Jesus Christ. Democrats may have permanently damaged the federal statistical system with October CPI and job reports likely never being released. All of that economic data release will be permanently impaired, leaving our policymaker at the Fed flying blind at a critical period. Now, is that true? Nope. Most of the data is collected by AI. Okay. This is just the White House manipulating you to try to make you think that everybody who's not on their team is evil. And if you fall for that, you're a goon. Okay. And there's nothing else that you can say about that. So we'll see what happens with this lately. And I mean, listen, if I was confident that she even believed in God enough not to cut half her nose off, then I would put a little bit more into this. But Nope. All right. Democratic shutdown made it extraordinarily difficult for economists, investors, and policymakers at the Federal Reserve to receive critical data. She added that the shutdown could lower fourth quarter economic growth by up to 2 percentage points. By the way, a shutdown, I would cut it by 2 percentage points. Well, because it's reopened right now, so that can't be the case, right? Like, what? Now, Goldman Sachs raised its estimates for GDP heading into the end of the year. The firm boosted its quarter 3 outlook slightly to 3.7 and raised its full year forecast to 1.3, a change of 0.3 percentage points. So they're saying that the economy is going to do better, but the people who are attacking another political party right now are saying that it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. You better vote Republican in January at the election. There's no fucking election here, right? Until November of next year. So Jesus Christ, these people are godless and shameless. and they call themselves Christian. They say they have people like touching, you know, like they have people like come over here, like, and Donald Trump is like sitting in a chair. You know, he's got a fat gut hanging over. He's got his legs spread so that he's got his hands on his knees, and he's like, everybody touch me, like I'm kind of like Jesus. Oh my God, the idolatry there. Like, Jesus Christ, can you call yourself a Christian and still be MAGA? Is that really a thing? Are we really that blacked out? Oh my God. You guys need to grow up. Anyway, actually, I'm the one that needs to grow up because I just have fun dunking on this kind of shit. Now, shutdown delays the October inflation report. What does the Fed's data say? Wait a minute. I thought we didn't have data. We couldn't have data because Half Nose said we don't have data. Well, it turns out, according to the Labor Department, we have the data. Okay, we just haven't collated it. While the official CPI data for the Bureau of Labor Statistics is unavailable, the Federal Reserve Bank of Cleveland has a nowcast that estimates present inflation levels for both CPI and the personal consumption expenditures, which is the Fed's preferred inflation gate. The Cleveland Fed's inflation nowcast estimates that CPI increased 0.18 on a monthly basis, while core CPI, which excludes volatile food and energy prices, was up 0.25 on the month. Now, CPI was up 2.96 in October, while core CPI rose 2.99 over the past several years. Inflation has fallen from a 40-year high of 9.1 down to 2.3, remains well above the Fed's target of 2%. The official CPI release from the Bureau of Labor Statistics was published last month and showed both headlines and core up 3% in September compared with last year. Hey, does anybody remember back last year when you were told that all you had to do was Donald Trump, and then all of a sudden everything was going to be perfect and we weren't going to have 3% inflation? Because that's impossible, because there's no way that Donald Trump would have high inflation or something like that. Like we wouldn't see any of that kind of stuff. Meanwhile, beef prices are at all-time highs and shit like that. Right? Do you remember when that happened? Okay, just wondering. The reason that I bring that up, by the way, is not because I want to dunk on him because he's, you know, Donald Trump, but because he lied to you and you bought it. And now you got to make excuses for it and just say, well, I hate the illegals. And if that was your reason to begin with, that's fine. That's fine. But he ain't doing shit. He's not doing shit. Okay. Not doing anything to help this market. Ultimately, however, now that I've put you to the cliff right now of like, I'm not even going to watch you anymore, you asshole. I can't believe you're talking about my daddy that way. You know, I mean, if you're feeling that kind of feel, look, step back from the ledge, baby bird. I'm about to feed you. Okay. Okay. Come back. Quit crying. Guys, look, stop crying. Don't cry. Okay. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. Okay. Your daddy is just like other daddies, just not as smart. Okay. It's okay. It's okay. So anyway, the tariffs are still a good thing ultimately for the United States. It's not good for crypto. It's not good for the economy short term. It's not good for anything short term, but it is very, very good for the United States. So, you know, at least acknowledge, even if you're like me and you don't like what's going on, at least acknowledge that the tariffs are going to help tremendously. So, you know, I wouldn't worry too much about all of this. Again, I don't think that we're in the bear market. Let's keep moving on, though. This is Dr. Profit, for those of you that don't know. Now, he blocked me a long, long time ago, but of course, on X, only retards block people and think like, oh, you can't see me anymore. You know what I mean? I just can't post anymore and tell you when you're wrong. You know what I mean? So I'm insanely bullish. This is what he posted 21 hours ago. I'm insanely bullish on Bitcoin. By the way, the reason we're talking about this is because this guy has been right, very, very right. And he also takes his victory laps. I'm insanely bullish on Bitcoin. The reason I have shorted and sold Bitcoin at the top is just to buy the crash that is coming for sure in the coming months, to own 2x or 3x more Bitcoin than before. Doesn't that sound bullish enough for you? And what he's doing is he's using his profit, large leverage positions to accumulate a lot of different capital, a lot of different cash. He sold everything and now he's buying it back at a cheaper price. I warned everyone about this crash. Begged you, sold all at 115 to 125, added big size shorts at the top region, nailed this move like no one else. Is there anyone on X who saw all of this Bitcoin crash coming? Relax, sit cash, and hold big short. Nothing else required in these days, yet people like to make it complicated. Now, I think at some point he also said that I didn't sell, that he hasn't sold yet. He's not done. Yeah, here we go. First promised target of 90 to 94K region is about to be hit. Important to note that I won't take any profits from the short at 90 to 94K. Now, you will notice, by the way, This is called hedging. Okay, I want you guys to understand what you're hearing and what you're seeing are two different things. What did he ultimately say? What he ultimately said was, we're going to the 70 to 75,000 range. That's going to be the ultimate area. But all of a sudden, his market hit everything that he's got right here says that his target is 90 to 94K, not that 70 to 75. So what you're watching, you're not seeing multiple areas. His target of 90 to 94, first of all, first promise target of 90 to 94 is about to be hit. Important note that I won't take any profits from the short at 90 to 94K. Well, then why are you putting it out here that that's the range? Will we get the 2K checks this year or next year? It's got to be next year. There's no chance you can do it this year because you're going to do it during tax time. So I could only imagine that if you're getting some kind of dividend off of the federal government, that it's probably going to be during tax time when the IRS is accounting for everything. So I would say it's going to be next year for sure. Now, that being said, let's move on here. Bitcoin is about to hit the death cross. This is what I was talking to you guys about. If you want to check this thread out, by the way, just so you guys can review it later, I will pop it into the chat right here. Bitcoin is about to hit a death cross on the daily charts. This is how market makers use this indicator to manipulate you. Okay. Number one, spoofing and fake order walls. This is how this works. Market makers place massive non-genuine sell orders just below current support levels, creating the illusion of impending doom on order books. This scares retail traders and bots into dumping positions, accelerating the price drop needed for the 50-day SMA to breach the 200. What I just say? Retail traders and bots. What they're doing is they're manipulating the auto traders. Once the cross form and panic peaks, they cancel the spoofed order buy and dip at a discount. Then they do wash trading to inflate fake volumes. Market makers trade back and forth between their own accounts to simulate high volume during downtrends, making the decline look more organic and convincing. By the way, anytime you look at a market maker and you see that on a chart, for example, one of the market makers that we look at all the time is the one on Dev. Dev uses a market maker. So it always looks like there's flow in Dev, in trade volume, but it's really just a market maker going from one wallet to another wallet. And I think what they do is they buy $5,000 worth, then they wait for a little bit of an uptick in the price, and then they sell $4,000 worth out of a different wallet, and they just keep cycling wallets, and they move the crypto around all the time. So you see that, and look, market makers are necessary for the market, but I watch it all the time, and there's so many different market makers out there doing it. And by the way, you can get a market maker at this point on Solana that will trade for dollars. Like they'll trade $5 here, $10 here, $20 here, and it'll keep going and going and going and going and going. And as the price goes up, they'll start selling and selling and selling to keep the price kind of stabilized, but it'll give the appearance of volume. That's what the market makers are doing. Okay, so then they have coordinated dumps and stop hunting. Whales time large sells during low liquidity periods to cascade through leverage positions, forcing the short-term average down faster than the long-term one can adjust. Post-cross, this creates a self-fulfilling prophecy as algorithms react to the signal. Data from past Bitcoin cycles shows market makers often test these levels repeatedly, feigning breakouts upward before the real dump to shake out longs first. Also, market makers leak tips to influencers or bots that hype the cross as a crash signal, fueling FUD. Like I said before, this is not a leading indicator. This is a lagging indicator, all right? And what I mean by that is this doesn't tell you what's going to happen in the market. It tells you what has happened in the market, okay? This isn't direct chart manipulation, but it exploits how technical indicators like the death cross are psychologically weighted. What they're saying is basically when you see it, you know that there could be a crash coming, but ultimately it's already happened, all right? When it started to bend back down, the death cross didn't matter. Once you started to see that bend in the 50, once you started to see that bend in the 200, then you knew it was coming, like it was inevitable at that point. So, but they're manipulating it, and they're saying that death cross is coming. And by the way, when I say this, by the way, the goons, the goblins, the horrible, the Watcher Guru, by the way, in case you guys don't know, Watcher Guru, which we'll use as a news source from time to time because news is still news, even if it comes from a scumbag organization. But Watcher Guru, they're in on it, okay? They are in on it. Bloomberg, they're in on it, okay? You can buy advertising from Watcher Guru that makes it look like it's real, and they have no shame about it either. They will report it as if it's news. All right. So they're not a news-making organization. These tactics aren't foolproof. Bitcoin's decentralized nature and growing institutional inflows make pure manipulation harder, but they thrive in corrections like this one. Past death crosses in Bitcoin saw 30 to 50% further drops before bottoms, often at levels market makers accumulate heavily. If you're trading this, watch for divergences like rising on-chain accumulation or RSI oversold signals to spot fakeouts. Always do your own research and consider it's not financial advice. Markets can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent. So be very, very careful. Also, you also have these goblins over here that like to lie to you. This OX gobnobbler, crypto nobbler. I'm sure it's probably nobler, but I mean, if he's gobbling knob like this, then he's lying to you. Okay. Breaking. Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy just started selling Bitcoin. No, they didn't. As a matter of fact, what he has right here are not sells, they're transfers. This guy's so stupid, he has no idea what he's talking about. For the first time in 2 years, they've dumped 33,000 Bitcoin worth $3 billion and keep selling more every few minutes. What's going on? What's going on is you're retarded. What's going on is you're Elon Musky, and you have no idea what's going on. Because right after that, Michael Saylor comes out and shows we haven't sold anything. We're not selling anything. As a matter of fact, not only are we not selling, we are fucking buying right now because of the market dip. So don't let this manipulated game fool you. The XRP ETF gets approved, market dumps. Trump reopens the government, market dumps. A $2,000 stimulus check gets announced, the market still dumps. If you can't see that they're loading the spring for the biggest crime pump in history, you're going to miss out on everything. And by the way, who's releasing the news? Watcher Guru. Watcher Guru. Bitcoin falls under 95,000. And this was about an hour ago. And by the way, obviously they're doing it to engagement farm. But when you go to Watcher Guru and you really start to look around at the Watcher Guru site and you look at the news that they're putting out right now, a bunch of speculative shit. Here, Michael Saylor says there's no truth to rumors of strategies selling Bitcoin. He also said he's buying more. $300 million worth of Bitcoin longs liquidated. That's where you get good news right there. You see, like, okay, well, now I know something's going on right here. But as we continue to go through here, then you see that they just continue and continue and continue to provide it to you. But then when you're interested, let's go see what's going on at Watcher Guru. Jesus Christ, you can't even go to Watcher Guru anymore. You can't use their, oh my God. This is why I have no respect for these fucking places. Oh my God. All right, Kobayashi, which is unbiased, conservative, but unbiased. We are back to the point where the top is in has become consensus. Extreme fear sentiment readings have become a daily occurrence, and large cap tech stocks are down 10 to 20% after running 100% plus. These are hallmark signs of a technical correction in a broader uptrend. Zoom out and capitalize on periods of emotional weakness in price. The fundamentals remain strong for asset owners. Now, are you not seeing this? Okay. If you're not seeing this, you're not paying attention. You're being manipulated. You're being manipulated well. And somebody like, by the way, somebody like Dr. Profit Crypto, he's recognizing the manipulation. He's responding to the manipulation. But I think he ultimately is wrong about the levels that we go to. I could be wrong about that too. You know what I mean? I could be wrong, but I think at this point, he is incorrect about what he's saying. So let's keep moving here. Bull market peak indicators. Absolutely no bull market peak indicators have been hit. Now, we do have one Bitcoin dominance. It's getting close, and long-term holder supply is also close, but otherwise has not been hit. TerraCasino.io for all your risk-based gaming needs. Remember, Friday night is football night. Chicago Bulls on a losing streak after starting 5-0. Oof. Put some money on it. Terraport.finance for all your utility and meme coins in the Terra Luna Classic ecosystem. Terra Luna Classic, the market dumping. Terra Luna Classic dumping a little bit, not as much as some of the other alts and stuff like that. What is going on with some of that stuff? Well, it's liquidity extraction from market makers. I just want to point this out. When you have something like Terra Luna Classic, which is out of vogue, still has 178 million market cap, but it's out of vogue. And all of a sudden it's not dumping super, super, super hard while the other stuff in the market is dumping super, super hard. It's not bullish momentum or a lack of the market. It's because the market makers are manipulating and they're not in Terra Luna Classic because there's not a lot of money in it right now. They're manipulating you. Stop being manipulated. Stop getting shaken out of your position. Or if you're going to shake out of the position, get it done when you see a top signal like 125,000 and then go ahead and get ready to accumulate on the side. Remember, by the way, remember, I can't even explain to you how crazy this is. You and I together, guys, we talked about this a while back. And what did I say? Get out of the market when it hits 70 and go back in when it hits 30. Okay. Now, if you did that, you're not mad today. You're not feeling bad today. Because at 70, which was, by the way, a couple weeks ago, when you were at 70, you had a nice big firm pump. You had a nice big run. Then you had an opportunity to buy at 30. And by the way, you're down if you bought at 30. You are down. I don't want to dismiss it. You are down, but guess what? It's going to go back to 70 and you're going to be way up again. As long as you're doing it on spot, as long as you're making the right plays. Now, if you're leveraging your positions, there's some danger. There's some risk here. There is potentially some more downside, but ultimately when it starts to rip, it's going to start to rip it and it's going to be epic. Everything right now is being priced based upon fear and, take a step back from the ledge again and look at the overall market. Okay. We're not in a horrible place. There are, by the way, look, beef prices still grossly accelerated, but egg prices came down. Cereal prices are down. You can actually buy cereal for like $3 a box in a lot of different places now. Look, you could not do that just recently. All right. Cereal prices are $4.99 to $5.99. Cereal. That's not even food. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, oh my God. So there are things that are elevated, but ultimately when fuel prices start coming down, then you start to see the rest of the market start to come down and fuel prices are coming down. That is the most important indicator to me. So be watching for a lot of good news coming out on inflation very, very, very shortly. Okay. Remember, and guys, I want to point this out. I know some of you, you missed some of these news articles and stuff like that. Going back into 2023 and 2024, there were companies that were out there telling their investors at their shareholder meetings. They have these calls every quarter, and in their shareholder meetings, they find price points that consumers are willing to absorb. Do you know what that means? We raise prices higher and higher and higher so that we make more profit until you stop buying. And then we find that high cap price, and that becomes our new norm. And that's how we continue to provide you with profits. And these companies, these goblins, these goons, they were making record profits. And you might be saying to yourself, well, yeah, but I heard about this one company losing money. Well, if you do a charge off, if you do a write down during a certain quarter or a certain period, makes it look pretty bad. But go back and zoom out and look at the profit and look at the data. Oil companies, record profits during COVID and through the 2 years after COVID. The cattle industry, go back and look, record profits. Okay. It's not a coincidence. Okay. None of these things. It's all. How much do you actually take in a day? Democrat, that is. First of all, I assume like your question has autism. And I don't know. It's not really a question. I'm pretty sure that you thought it was going to be funny. Reword it and make it funnier. How much do I take in a day? I don't. I shove it in you. You are my bee. I'm not yours. Woo! Woo! To quote Ric Flair. Anyway, and let me get back to this. We're skipping dev. We don't talk about dev. The market overall, going back to 1 to 100, Stark is up 22%. StarkNet back in the top 100. Zcash up 18% on the day. The flight into privacy is starting to happen very quickly. But that's going to be all we cover in this. We're going to go over here to the Fear and Greed Index, the FAG, if you will, 16. We are down to 15 yesterday, 16 today. It's always going absolutely crazy. Like this is extreme fear. We are in the spot right now where this is your opportunity. This is your massive accumulation. This is the massive accumulation period that you've been waiting for. Okay. I'm telling you right now. Could we go down? Yes. Could it get worse? Sure. But we're already at a spot right now where it's just crazy. Now, we zoom out here just a little bit. We'll go to the month chart. We're going to skip the 2 week today. We're going to go to the monthly chart. Now we're starting to look for and hunt for liquidity. And guess what? We've already ranged this chart completely. So the most logical play right now is a move back into 98,000 and then up above 100 to 101,000 and then some moves back up there. Again, leverage positions are going to start being taken. We're going to move to the 3 month. On the 3 month, we'll see a little bit of a different variance here, but are we still seeking liquidity? Well, the liquidity is back to the upside, right? We still got a bunch of people shorting. If a bunch of people are shorting the market, then the bulls are going to take over. Like, again, this is very simple. This game is money based. It's economic based. All of this shit that's happening right here is to manipulate you. Okay. Now, again, you've got a pocket right there, 93,000, 92,000. You're already down here. So you could see some more downside. And in fact, you could see a cascade all the way down. The reason that people bring this up is because you go down here to about 73, 74,000. There's still tons and tons and tons sitting in that range. And by the way, I'm doing this on Binance. I'm not doing this on the overall symbol. Let me go back to the overall symbol so that you can see that and you can get an idea of the massive amount, because their Bybit is even bigger. So you come down here and yeah, 73,000 is the range right there. So again, you could see an attack on that. If you look at it on the 24 hour, let's go back over here and let's do it on the 24. It looks like we've kind of swept through and the reversal is in off of this, and people are moving here. Can't manipulate if you don't sell ever. Well, the part to that is you can't manipulate if you leverage. You can't manipulate if you don't leverage. If you just buy on spot, you can't be manipulated. You just buy a dip and just accumulate a little bit more. And when it rips and when you get up there to the top, make sure you take some profit along the way, because you need that profit in order to buy the next dip. And you continue to accumulate and it continues to get better. I mean, basically if you buy one Bitcoin at 16,000 and it goes all the way up to 125,000 and you're lucky enough, that's an 8x, by the way. If you're lucky enough to be able to sell that one Bitcoin that was 16,000 at 125,000, and now you sold it and now you're sitting on 125,000 today, guess what? Bitcoin's on sale. You could actually buy 1.25 Bitcoin for 96,000. You got $96,000. So you could buy 1.3. You could buy 1.3 Bitcoin. So now instead of having one Bitcoin, now you have 1.3 Bitcoin. And if it goes up to 120 or 130 or 140 or 150, then you're talking about $200,000. It's actually just that simple. It takes time. It takes following that fear and greed index. But ultimately, all you have to do is just accumulate, buy and sell in the right spots. And if you buy in the wrong spot, just survive the dip. Don't rely on that money. This is your side money. This is your side hustle. This is all the stuff that you need. It's all it takes. It's all it takes. So now let's go look at some charts and let's see, where are we right now? So we were down at 130 billion, something like that. Like we were down like a crazy amount for a while. And we've got a strong bounce. That strong bounce seems to be coming back into the range. So for today, we're not going to be able to say that we broke the support line, but well, actually, we might be able to. We actually might be able to. And I said earlier today, and I said it. Funny thing is, I say it on my tape stream instead of my live stream for Terra Luna Classic, and I was like, well, you know what? We're down 100 and something billion dollars. This is probably a day where the U.S. market is going to start buying heavy because they're going to buy the dip. And guess what? U.S. market came in and just started buying the dip. So how does that, how does that handle the market? Well, I don't know. We look at the Dow Jones. The Dow Jones was down big. Look at that gap right there. Look at that gap right there. I would suspect that we're going to see that gap get filled very, very quickly, very, very rapidly. We had this downward momentum right here, and we're going to see a big move, a big spike coming back up. Ultimately, we're going to test the 50. And then, again, the futures were down 500 points. Like this is a big and significant gap right there, which will get filled. So you might actually see the markets have a nice little reversal today. If we go to, let's see what the market says right now. We were down pretty big to start the day. We're looking for something. Yeah, we don't have any. Okay, so we don't have any kind of thesis being popped out here. CNBC down 400 points. That's the closest that we have right now. But now it's 300 points. So the buyback has begun. Now, again, could just be that they're heading back down. What is your favorite trading platform for leverage trading? Weeks. Weeks has a very deep liquidity pool, and I don't hear a whole lot about manipulation. And in fact, if you guys pay attention, I use Weeks and KCEX, Weeks mostly. And when I use Weeks, I mean, Tom Crown, Crypto Lifer, Sam, Nick, Crypto Keeper. I mean, we're all using Weeks right now. I'm pretty sure that most of the major players right now are using Weeks. The reason what we're using Weeks has a very deep liquidity pool, number one, and number two, it's a non-KYC exchange. And I assure you, they're going to be one of those companies that come into America with guns blazing. By the way, Dow Jones is down under 300 points all of a sudden. Crypto market is down 57 billion. So the reversal has happened. Again, this could just be a dead cat bounce, and we're about to head lower. I'm not saying that this is not the pump that we're looking for. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying that as it sits right now, we're starting to get a little bit of clawing back right now of the position. So hopefully that continues. When you look at your meme coins and everything just absolutely bleeding. Acceler bit down, mad bigly. I just want to say that. I don't know what the fuck mad bigly means, but I just want to say it. Mantra down 20%, but that's not true. Mantra is not down 20%. The liquidity was pulled because it's being moved over to Mantra chain. So, that's not a big deal over here. If you look, I think you probably see like a spot here a little while ago, maybe where liquidity was removed or something like that. Like you might see that somewhere in this. No, maybe not. Who the fuck knows? Anyway, not down 22%, but the liquidity is being pulled and being put onto the Mantra chain so that Mantra can actually do what it's supposed to do, which is, let's get it off of the main watch list. We don't need to watch it here anymore. It'll have a deeper pool of liquidity, which will allow whales to come in. And that's one of the things that's been prohibitive for Mantra so far. Also, remember, it's being rebranded. It's no longer OM. It's going to be called Mantra. Anyway, Acceler down 20%, Moon AI down 14%, Meme Link down 12%, Urim down 10%, Volt down 10%, XVM Volt, API 3 down 8%, TARS down another 7%. Guys, everything right now is just on sale. That's all I can say. Everything is just on sale at this point. So buy those dips. The other thing is, remember what I told you, that you want to see this stay above 10 billion, the top four right there. Well, guess what? We're now at about 12 billion. So that reversal yesterday it was just under 10 billion. Today it's 12 billion. So the reversal could be the sell-off, could be people getting liquidated, could be some of that, but these are spot trading. These are not leveraged trade positions. So you could be seeing people buying and scooping up these dips, and you could be seeing the start of a reversal. It's going to take a lot more data for that, but it's a good sign when you see something like that happen. Also, you see the green line over here, a lot of buyback happening very quickly. Now, one thing that I was talking to you about, AI, part of the tech stocks, look at how down we are. It takes a second for this all to load, but look at that. It's just a cascade of red. In the last hour, we've seen a little bit of movement. BitTensor's up 2.5%, Render's up 2.5%, Virtuals is up 4% in the 24-hour. But look at that 7-day total. That 7-day total right there, down 10%, down 3%, down 22%, down 13%, down 13%. So AI is no longer in vogue. RWA protocols. How are RWAs doing? And the reason I'm bringing this up is because you're not looking at money just being sucked out of the market. You're looking at money being rotated. Somebody somewhere is taking profit. They're always taking profit. So some money might be coming out. But ultimately, look at this. For the 7-day numbers for RWA, Chainlink only down 3%, Hedera only down 4%, Avalanche down 6%, Ondo down 4%. But look at all this green. Look at all the green in the market. Even Maple, the syrup, is up 14%. as you start going through these major caps right here, clearly the rotation is into RWA. Also, if you look at these charts over here, then you'll see that a couple of them, like Definity. By the way, I sold my Definity bag. If they don't want to do business with me, I'm out. So I sold all my stuff yesterday. But Syrup is up 7%. Definity also qualifies as an RWA. So, and by the way, I lost 50% on that. Just so you guys know. So going down the list, however, Zcash privacy tokens still continue to surge. Aptos, RWA, 3%. Didex, well, that's not an RWA. Manta, 11%. Injective is a gaming, so that's up 3%. Also, if you look at gaming, kind of the same thing here. Takes a second for this stuff to load, but not huge and gigantic dips, just dips, just your normal dip. So I think a lot of this is rotation. The one thing that I would look at overall would be stablecoins. So what does Tether look like right now? Is Tether market cap going up or down? And guys, Tether market cap continues to soar. Okay. It's not dipping. It's not coming down. It's just continuing. Okay. It's just continuing up. And this, by the way, this is, you do this over 1 month right here. Look at this. Even at 1 month, money is going back. The money's not coming out of the market. It's just going into stablecoin. What's stablecoin dominance look like? Stablecoin dominance looks like it's up 2% today. What are people doing? They're stabling their money. That's what's happening right now because they're going to buy a dip. They're starting that process. And by the way, that doesn't mean that it's going to start today. Doesn't mean that it's, doesn't mean that we're not done with a dip. Just means that the money's not moving out of the market. And the money that is moving out of the market right now seems to just go back into the stable coins, and it's ready for that next big rip. Okay. That's all I'm saying. Now, maybe it's USDC that's happening too. Maybe all the money is actually coming out of USDC, bro. It's not coming out of anything else. And that could be the case. We look at it on a 1 month basis. It's at 75 billion. It was up to 76 billion. So we see $1 billion coming out of USDC. But guess what? Look at this overall. We've gone from 40 billion market cap a year ago to 75 billion today. Does that look like the market's over? No, it doesn't. All right. And by the way, if you're into something, which, I know that at some point pretty soon, it's going to be a big announcement on something like Dev. And you might be nervous. Your project, whatever project it is, whatever you're looking at, you might be nervous because your project, you're worried about, well, shouldn't it be launching during a bull run, or shouldn't it be launching during altcoin season? None of that shit matters. There's $185 billion sitting in Tether right now, and there's $75 billion sitting in USDC right now. PYUSD, RLUSD, all of them are growing exponentially every single day. So, what that basically means is, don't worry about it. I mean, that basically means don't be concerned. There's plenty of money in the market that's going to pump your meme coin, that's going to pump your utility coin. If they make the right announcement, if they put it in the right position, it's going to run, it's going to surge. As long as you've got the information that you need, then you're going to be just absolutely fine. All right. That's the show, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's not financial advice. I'm always right. Again, the question of the day is, did we just hit the bear market? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And we'll see you guys again.
I'm looking for the good life, sitting on top of the world. I